And I really just want to talk today a little bit about the supports and our approach to industry engagement at the college. So first of all, to start off with a brief introduction to RCSI, many of us may not be aware of the heritage of the college. It's quite unique in the Irish landscape. It's a private non-for-profit institution, which makes it very unique from most of the government funded and owned academic institutions across the rest of the country. It was founded back in 1784, so we've been around for quite some time. We're the sole provider of surgical training in Ireland, and quite uniquely, we've got 3 overseas campuses. So I guess, how can RCSI help medical device companies and pharmaceutical companies address the challenges that they're facing today? So let's try and capture some of those challenges at the start. So increasingly, payers are looking for, are putting a greater focus on value as opposed to price of product. What are the healthcare outcomes associated with the product offering that is being provided as opposed to the particular price? People are looking for healthcare solutions as opposed to healthcare products. So very much more a holistic approach to healthcare. Devices are becoming increasingly complex. They're difficult to get to market as we get into advanced therapies. Regulatory agencies are trying to come to terms with the complexities of these products and devices. On top of that, getting access to clinical key opinion leaders is proving increasingly challenging as increasing compliance obligations begin to manifest themselves. And that leads obviously to early adapter challenges. So at RCSI, given our unique position, given our clinical reach, we feel we can help both medical device and pharmaceutical companies overcome some of these challenges. So the question that's often asked in Ireland is, can we achieve more clinical research and innovation within the current ecosystem? And the answer to that is yes. And how do we do it? We do it through collaboration and partnership. I guess sometimes we forget about government policy and the influence that has in terms of bringing the actors together to create an innovation ecosystem. And I guess the point I'd like to make today is that there's never been a better time for companies to engage with academic institutions in Ireland. This is very much driven by government policy over the last number of years. If we look back over the numerous government policies in terms of action plan for jobs that actually came out in the height of our economic woes and recessions, it was very clear that the government saw the academic sector as being a key catalyst in terms of driving economic development. Increasingly, it's becoming easier for companies to engage with academic institutions. Knowledge Transfer Ireland have developed a national IP protocol that develops consistency of engagement across all academic institutions within the Irish system. They've got standard agreements, non-disclosure agreements, material transfer agreements, collaborative research agreements that make it a lot easier for companies to actually engage with academic institutions on collaborative programs. And there's a government ambition under Innovation 2020, the relevant government policy, to significantly increase national R&D spend. So how can RCSI add value to your company? We do this across a number of different dimensions and a number of different horizons. At a very simple level, we offer bespoke training courses to companies. So if you're a medical device company and you want to upskill some of your design engineers in anatomy, we're your ideal partner because we are the sole provider of surgical training in the country. We've got graduate and PhD talent that is very keen to transition out of academia into industry. We've got world-class research capability that's willing to work on real-world problems that are relevant to companies' commercial interests. We've got state-of-the-art infrastructure, and we've got an ability to leverage significant research funding through the various co-funded programs that I'm going to speak about in a moment. We've got access to new intellectual property that's being developed by our researchers and our associated clinicians. Increasingly, we can provide access to the hospitals within our hospital group. So RCSI is academic partner to 7 hospitals within its RCSI hospital group. We've got a clinical research infrastructure on site in Beaumont Hospital, a clinical research facility or a clinical research centre that is specifically designed to facilitate clinical trials, both devices and medicinal products. We've got an ecosystem and an environment to help network and influence. So we can provide a mechanism by which companies can engage with clinicians and other key people within the ecosystem to influence and focus government policy and direction. Obviously, everybody knows about the Horizon 2020 programme, and RCSI has been incredibly successful in attracting European funding under this programme. And the last point that maybe some people aren't aware of is that we are partners with Trinity College Dublin under a knowledge transfer consortium. So just to mention this consortium very briefly, this is a consortium, a knowledge transfer consortium with Trinity College Dublin, funded by Knowledge Transfer Ireland, that is focused on providing industry and entrepreneurs with an opportunity to seamlessly engage with both institutions, to access clinicians, infrastructural resources and IP assets across both institutions in a very consistent and efficient manner. So what is our approach to industry engagement? It's very much a needs-driven approach. We try to, very early in the process, sit down with the company and understand what their challenges, what their needs are. We then map these problems to the capability that we have across our academic researchers and our clinical and associated clinical researchers. We facilitate meetings between between the company and the research capability that we have, and we make sure that those meetings are managed efficiently and appropriately so that outputs are actioned and the activity moves forward. It's not just a waste of time. We identify what the programme is going to focus in on, what the scope of it is, what the required funding is, and what is the most appropriate funding mechanism to support that activity. We identify some of the key business issues that need to be addressed, and we work through them with the company. What are how is IP going to be managed? How is the project going to be resourced? All of that sort of stuff. How is knowledge going to be transferred and embedded and absorbed into the company at the end of the project, which is critically important. We then support the company to secure funding for that activity, and I'm going to talk about some of those mechanisms briefly. We implement a research programme, we manage the project once it's up and running, and we deliver results out to the company at the end of it. So I mentioned before, RCSI's got world-class expertise willing to work with industry, and if I want to identify 6 areas where we think we're internationally competitive, they are the following. Regenerative medicine, biomaterials and drug delivery is an area where we're internationally regarded and recognised. The area of health outcomes research is something that's very important when you look at value-based reimbursement and trying to deal with that. And we've recently established a health outcomes research centre to, I guess, expand that activity and recruit a significant international expertise to resource it. We've got key focuses on perinatal health because of our collaboration and our partnership with the Rotunda Hospital. Big focuses on respiratory medicine, and particularly the use of ICT-enabled solution and Internet of Things-enabled solutions to manage respiratory medication conditions. Big focuses on epilepsy, where we're the academic institution that's leading out the National Electronic Patient Record for epilepsy, and also big focuses in the area of cancer. So we're a single faculty institution exclusively focused on healthcare, and that's evident by the research areas and strengths that I've articulated there. Over the last number of years, the last 2 years, we've seen a massive increase in the amount of industry engagement with the college. Industry programmes have increased by 700%, and we've seen a 400% increase in the number of research commercialisation agreements since 2014. So finally, just to talk about funding your research engagement, we see 3 mechanisms of companies engaging with academic institutions, such as RCSI. On one hand, you've got industry-informed research. These are research programs that are fully funded by the state, and they come in the form of SFI PI awards, SFI TDA awards, and EI commercialisation awards. These are programs where they're informed by an industry challenge. We see industry as being a key partner in the program, but there's no company cash contribution required from the company, and the company doesn't get any preemptive IP rights to the program output. Industry-directed research, that's fully funded industry collaborative research. And in those type of programs, the program is very much directed by industry, and the industry partner can actually get to own the IP that arises from that program. And then in the middle, we've got what are called industry collaborative programs. These are programs that are co-funded by the industry partner and typically a government state agency, such as SFI or Enterprise Ireland or the Irish Research Council. And as you move from, I guess, as you look at the screen from left to right, what we would encourage companies to do is engage across that spectrum and look at using all three of these mechanisms as a way of de-risking your research investment. Shifting tack a little bit, I just want to bring to your attention that later this year we're going to open up a state-of-the-art academic and educational building in York Street in the city centre of Dublin. The top 2 floors of this building are dedicated to surgical simulation suites, and we find this, or we see this, as being something that's going to be very attractive to medical device companies wishing to trial their product or get key opinion leader feedback from both Irish key opinion leaders but also international key opinion leaders that they want to bring in to trial their devices. So just going to finish with that and encourage you to contact me if you're interested in learning more about any of the opportunities I've discussed here today, and if you're willing to work with the college to shape the future of tomorrow's healthcare solutions. Thank you.